if I said to you, Chris, just tell me a few sentences about who you are, what would you say?
I'm a dad. I'm a business owner. I'm somebody who's on a journey at the minute. So my identity is in a bit of a flux, I'd say, because I'm also a learner. So I'm somebody who wants to understand more. So, but that's the interesting thing about this identity stuff. You know, we're talking about what happens next.
Yeah.
And we're coming through a situation in our family where I've got one adult daughter and one who's not little anymore. She was 12 yesterday. And actually that role of being a dad evolves as well, right? Because our kids get to a point where if we've done our jobs right, they probably need us less. So like managing that, if you ask me in 10 years, would those roles be in that order? I don't know.
Right. Well, our identity does change over time. You know, the research on personality had previously suggested it was pretty stable. But if you look at the research, the context in which it was taken was pretty stable and over a relatively short amount of time. So if you look at personality traits over 10 years, for somebody who's in a similar work role, not much has changed that's impacted on personality. When you look at COVID, interestingly, overpopulations, we became less agreeable, less open, more neurotic, which those traits are all pretty stable, but the whole context changed. But I'll come back to you. So you're a dad. Let's say if you decided to retire next year, you'd still be a dad. But as you say, the role, what that means might be very different, especially as your young people move on in their lives. And, you know, maybe your identity at some point will change to being a granddad as well, you know, and those things become more important. Your identity as a business owner, if you retire, that's definitely changed. So that's going to leave a gap in your sense of self, you know, unless you, I don't know, if you sold the business, if you passed it on, but that, so if I'm not a business owner anymore, what am I? If you don't think about that, and in terms of identity, that's going to really create some discomfort that will need addressing. So what I was really curious about was the sort of key components in terms of values and strengths and beliefs. At the moment, you addressed in terms of I'm a learner, and that is the most permanent of the three. So if you're a learner, when you move into retirement, into transition, you are still going to be a learner. How you learn, and that will remain stable for you.
So it is part of the challenge that's looking at those transient values, like a business owner. I'm not always going to be a business owner, but that desire to help might stay, right? Gotcha.
Exactly that.
So it's looking at what things we identify with that are transient or a bit more permanent.